in the description. Now, let's begin with the news. We'll begin with 3 bits of news real quick that I'm going to put them all together because I don't think they merit their own segment, not because they're not important, but because they're not as long. And then after that, we'll dive into the comment section and we'll get a discussion going. The first bit of news is that preseason has officially started today, Monday, July the 10th. The team reported during the morning to medical exams and fitness testing. So the club can make sure that they're all healthy, ready to begin the preseason. In the afternoon, they had a training session. Tomorrow, they're going to have 2 training sessions in the morning and the evening. Wednesday, they're only going to have 1 training session. Thursday, they'll be off. Friday, again, 2 training sessions, 1 training session on Saturday, and Sunday, they will be off, and they will be flying to the U.S. next Wednesday, July the 19th, to begin the official preseason tour. Now, I'm very excited about the preseason. I think it's one of the most exciting times of the season because this is when not only the whole team is back from vacation, but this is when the coach begins to lay the foundation for the upcoming season. You know, the coach can start trying out different things, trying out players in different positions, trying out different formations, trying out different plays. This is when new players get incorporated. This is when younger players from Masia come up and start training with the team. So the preseason, to me, is a very, very, very exciting time. That's the foundation of the upcoming season, and that's where new things get to be tried out and new things to be discovered. Now, speaking of the preseason, Alejandro Balde, who wasn't set to start the preseason until much later, officially reported today to the medical and fitness exams. And lo and behold, he has passed his medical exams and he is 100% fit. This is, of course, great news because, as you might recall, Alejandro Balde got injured during the final match of last season against Mallorca. He was, they said he was going to be out for 8 weeks. The season ended 6 weeks ago. So that means he is back 2 weeks ahead of schedule. And the reason for that is that Alejandro Balde actually cut his vacation short. And instead of taking time off, he actually dedicated the second half of his vacation to training, to recuperating, because he wanted to come back as soon as possible. He wanted to report to the first day of preseason, which was today. And he did. And he passed all his medical exams and fitness exams. And he is 100% healthy and ready to start the preseason and ready to come to the U.S. with the rest of the team. Now, these are the kind of players that you want on your squad, you know, players who, when they're injured, they get obsessed and they work as hard as possible to try to get healthy so they can come back, because all they want to do is play for the club, because he could have easily taken those 8 weeks off, continued to earn his paycheck, because players still get paid while they're injured, and enjoyed himself, went to the beach, went on vacation. But instead, he spent most of his vacation training hard so he can be back, and he is now back 100%. So great news for Barcelona. An amazing commitment by Alejandro Balde. Now, speaking of Alejandro Balde, his contract renewal, you know, it's all agreed to with the club, the player. Everything is good to go. Of course, the club have not made official the contract renewal yet because they need to clear space on the wage bill. But Barcelona have set a deadline to finalizing the contract renewal, registering the contract, making it official by the start of the season. They don't want to push this contract renewal any further. You know, Alejandro Balde's contract does expire next summer in 2024. So technically the club does have another year to finalize it, but the club don't want to risk that. They want to tie down Alejandro Balde as soon as possible. And of course, we all know why, because he's undoubtedly one of the best left backs in the world at only 18 years of age. I think he just turned 19, which is absolutely crazy because a lot of people forget this, but Alejandro Balde's last season, that was technically his adaptation season. You know, this was his first full season with the first team, his first season with the first team. So this was technically his adaptation season when he was supposed to, you know, get adapted, figure things out, and he still was one of the best left backs in the world. So you can only imagine how much better he's going to be this upcoming season. Now he has experience with the first division. He has experience playing on the first team. And you can only even imagine how much even better he's going to get once he gets to his prime. Because again, Alejandro Balde is only 19 years of age. You can only imagine how much better he's going to be when he's 25, 26 years old, which is when players enter their prime. Anyways, the last bit of news still relates to the preseason, and it's that we now know who Barcelona are going to face off in the Joan Gamper Trophy, which is Tottenham Hotspurs. Now, for those of you who don't know, the Joan Gamper Trophy is the final match, friendly match of the preseason. It's the match right before the official season begins. It's a match to honor the founder of the club, Joan Gamper. That's why the trophy is named Joan Gamper. And this time will be against Tottenham Hotspurs. It will be played on August 9th against Tottenham Hotspurs at the Olympic Stadium in Montjuic. Of course, the Joan Gamper is always played at the Spotify Camp Nou, but the Camp Nou is undergoing renovations. The club considered moving the Joan Gamper match to Switzerland for this only for this summer, because that's where Joan Gamper is from. But then eventually they have made the decision to keep it at the Olympic Stadium at the top of Montjuic. So that's the 3 bits of news. A preseason has officially begun. Alejandro Balde is declared 100% fit with his contract renewal set to be made official by the beginning of the season. And finally, the Joan Gamper Trophy will be played against Tottenham Hotspurs on August 9th at the Olympic Stadium. Let's head to the comment section. Let's get a discussion going, and then we'll talk about the exits and Matteo Alemany and the conversation he had with Xavi Hernandez. All right, we'll do 3 comments, and then we'll keep it going. Let's see. Jalo says, "One love, Mo, from Freetown, Sierra Leone." What's up, man? Thank you for watching all the way from Sierra Leone. By the way, I'm curious, what time is it there? If you can drop it in the chat section, that'd be awesome. Cinto says, "Why there's never talk about offloading Sergi Roberto? Because Sergi Roberto is nobody's gonna buy him, so there's no point of offloading him." Plus, a lot of people like to hate on Sergi Roberto. I always say this, and I'll say it again. I think Barcelona fans are some of the most toxic fans, and they always like to pick whether players or coaches to blame. But Sergio Roberto might not be the best player on the field because he is older, but what he provides to the team as far as the locker room, because he is the leader, he is the captain, and what he provides during training sessions as far as teaching the youngster, compared to how much he's earning the salary of a Barca athletic player. I mean, that's just priceless. Because his experience, his leadership, that's things that you cannot see on the field, that you cannot measure. But there's plenty of reports talking about how much Sergio Roberto helps the team behind the scenes during training, during the locker room meetings, etc. And I mean, why not? If he's not earning any money, if he's not occupying any space on the wage bill, and yet he's helping you so much with the team, helping the youngsters learn, grow, motivating them. I mean, why not? Why? Like, what's the insistence of people always hating on Sergio Roberto? I mean, we all forget all he's done for the club. People's memories, unfortunately, is very short. We all like to forget how much this guy has provided for the club. He's spent his whole career at Barcelona. He's won everything there is to win at Barcelona. But, let's just shit on Sergio Roberto. Okay, Ross says, "You going to any of the friendly games? I'm going to LA game. Come and join us." Actually, that is my goal. I really want to go to the Arsenal match in LA. It's the only one that's going to have good weather. Maybe the San Francisco one, the Santa Clara one. But I definitely don't want to go to Texas or Vegas. Even though I am from Vegas, I don't want to sit in 120-degree weather. All right, Chuchu made it on time. What's up, man? All right, Chikomba says, "Hi, Mo. I'm Chico from Zambia. Barcelona should try by all means to secure the signing of the right back, Ivan Fresneda. The player is really good." Yes, so that's Barcelona's number one option to sign Fresneda for the right back position. But unfortunately, there's no money. If the player is willing to wait for Barcelona to offload some players, then Barcelona will do everything in their power to sign him. But if he's in a hurry, like many other players, to sign for someone else, then it's not going to happen. Okay, let's talk about the exits, because you cannot sign players without offloading players. And it seems that Xavi Hernandez had a serious talk with Matteo Alemany, because Xavi Hernandez is starting to get worried about all these players that he doesn't count on for next season. And he wants them offloaded, players like Ferran Torres, players like Ansu Fati, Frank Kessie, Eric Garcia, all the players on loan like Nico, Serginho Dest, and Clement Lenglet. So Xavi wants all these players out. He's starting to get worried because he doesn't want these players to stay. He doesn't even want them during a preseason, because it's kind of awkward to have these players who you want off the team training with you every day and then have to tell them you can't travel with us to the U.S. So he's talked to Matteo Alemany. He wants them to accelerate these exits, and Matteo Alemany has pledged to Xavi that he will get to work and do everything in his power, not only to offload all these players, but to do it as soon as possible. Now, if I'm one of these players, I would be worried. because Matteo Alemany is a no-nonsense man. If he puts his mind on offloading a player, it's exactly what's going to happen. There was reports saying that Matteo Alemany during last season, he was going up to players saying, hey, you have 3 days to find a new club or you're out of here with no club. That's the kind of man he is, straight to business, and he's going to get to work to get these exits out. And I'm glad that's going to happen because it needs to happen as soon as possible because, again, without offloading these players, Barcelona cannot bring in new ones. They cannot bring Vitor Roque, whose deal is completely done. So now that Matteo Alemany has made this pledge, expect movements. There's definitely going to be a lot of movements these upcoming few days and weeks. So stay tuned to the channel because I will be here to report about it. Now, speaking of exits, today Barcelona have reached an agreement. They haven't made it official yet, but they have reached an agreement to offload Alex Collado, who will be leaving the club as a free agent. Both Barcelona and the player have agreed to terminate the contract, and Alex Collado will be leaving as a free agent, and he will be joining Real Betis on what's being reported. That's going to be around 4 seasons. Now, this is kind of a bit of a sad news because Alex Collado is someone who came up through La Masia. There was a lot of hype around him, a lot of expectations. He was the best player on Barca Athletic. A lot of people expected him to be kind of like the next best thing. Unfortunately, it didn't work out for him. He couldn't make it in on the first team. He was sent out on loan. Didn't work out there either. So now Barcelona have decided to terminate the contract of the player, and he will be joining Real Betis as a free agent. And he has agreed to forego more than half of the salary that he had deferred during COVID, which Barcelona still owed him. Some of you might recall when all the stadiums were shuttered by COVID-19, Barcelona reached an agreement with the players to defer their salary, meaning that they will pay their salary later. So Barcelona owed Alex Collado some money, and he has agreed to forgive more than half of that money, which is, of course, a great gesture by La Masia product. And despite him leaving for free, Barcelona will retain 30% of any future sales. This is great, of course, because you never know. Alex Collado might end up reaching his full potential at Real Betis. And if he does, and Real Betis end up selling him, then Barcelona could make a really good chunk of money. 30% is a lot of any future sale. So that's good. But that's the news. The second exit of Barcelona has been realized. Of course, Samuel Umtiti being the first one, who Barcelona also agreed to terminate his contract. And now Alex Collado, who will be joining Real Betis as a free agent. So that's 2 out of the 5 loanees done. We still have, of course, Dest, Nico, Lenglet, Abde, which I'll talk about in a little bit. And yeah. Barcelona getting to work. All right, so let's head back to the comment section, and then we will talk about Clement Lenglet, since we are talking about loan players who need to leave the club. Okay. Mabe says, when can we register players in La Liga? We currently still have 11. We actually have 13 registered, not 11. But, Barcelona have a plan in place with the exits, with the bond, with viability plan, all that together. Barcelona are confident that they will be able to register all the players. Xavi wants 23 players on the team. He doesn't want any more. And with the rest of the players kind of coming up from La Masia, from Barca Athletic, kind of like Lamine Yamal, someone who will be training with playing with Barca Athletic, but training with the first team and can come up for a few matches. That's what Xavi wants. He only wants 23 first-team players, and the rest would be La Masia players, which, of course, you don't need to register for them to play with the first team. Okay, let's see. Musa says, hi, Mo. We really appreciate your efforts for bringing the best Barcelona news. Thank you, Musa. Thank you for the support. You guys keep me going, even when I'm super tired. Like today, I just got out of work. But you guys keep me motivated to keep going because I think we need to stay updated, Okay, let's see. Let's see. Where else? Suchu says, I know Collado was just overhyped. Finally, it's happened. No, it's not about overhyped or not. Unfortunately, players, sometimes they are the best when they're in the lower categories, whether it's Barca Athletic or the under 19. And then they might be the best player in that division. But it's one thing to be the best player in the third division versus being a good player in the first division. You know, we see that all the time. We've seen hundreds of players with lots of promise who eventually make it to the first division, and then boom, it's a bust, right? So that's the thing when a lot of people like to comment on videos. Oh, well, we should try Alemany players. We should try Nico, who's doing great, or we should try Casado, who's doing great, or we should try like Xavi's an idiot because, and it's like, calm down, guys. Again, just because these players are doing great with Barca Athletic doesn't mean that they're ready to be in the first team, or that Xavi's an idiot because he's not using them. If he's not using them, it's obviously for a reason. And now you see why these reasons, the example of this reason, right? Alex Collado, he was the best in Barca Athletic. He was the best in the whole third division. I mean, he was the guy. He was the Messi of the third division of Spain. And then he makes it to the first team, total bust, right? That's the thing. So, you know, unfortunately, we see it all the time. And not just in football. We see it all across the sports. You know, for those of you who watch American sports, how many people you've seen who are great in college football and then they make it to the NFL and it's like, what happened to the guy? You know, it's just the nature of life, the nature of sports. But let's talk about Clement Lenglet, because he actually reported to preseason today. So Clement Lenglet is officially back in Barcelona. Of course, Barcelona didn't want to, you know, put attention to him, so there weren't many pictures or videos of him. But he is back in Barcelona because Barcelona are yet to reach an agreement with Tottenham Hotspurs. Now, Tottenham Hotspurs want to keep Lenglet. Lenglet wants to stay at Tottenham Hotspurs. Barcelona want to sell Lenglet to Tottenham Hotspurs. So all the parties are in agreement. But the problem is that Tottenham Hotspurs are still relying on prolonging the deal and seeing if Barcelona eventually gives up and agrees to sell Clement Lenglet for 4 to 5 million euros, which is, of course, a deal breaker for Barcelona, because just because Barcelona are desperate to offload players, they're not just going to give them away for free, especially when they have good market value. You know, it's different when you talk about someone like Alex Collado or Umtiti, whose market values are very, very low, so it doesn't really matter whether you sell them or not. Someone like Clement Lenglet, he does have some decent market value. You can make money off him. So Barcelona, that's exactly what they're looking for. But Tottenham Hotspurs are prolonging the deal, hoping that Barcelona do get desperate. Now, I think, unfortunately, Barcelona are going to have to eventually cave and, you know, agree to a low price, because after all, Clement Lenglet is one of the highest earners in Barcelona. You know, his contract was renewed by Bartomeu, and we all knew how Bartomeu ran the club. Whenever he signed or renewed players, he liked to throw money at them. And that's exactly what he did with Lenglet. I think his salary is supposed to increase to 17 million euros for this season. That's insane for freaking Clement Lenglet. Not even Lewandowski makes that. So I think Barcelona eventually are going to have to, unfortunately, cave and sell Lenglet for a low price, because at the end of the day, they need to remove his huge, huge salary off their books, not only to meet the plans of the viability plan, but also to register players. All right, let's get back to the comment section, and then we'll talk about Abde, because Abde's future is still hanging in the balance, and I have an update for you. Oh, update. Okay. Let's see, where did we leave off? Pate is asking if Barcelona are monitoring Oscar Zambrano for the pivot position. As far as I know, haven't heard anything. Now, if it's for Barca Athletic, perhaps. But as I've said many times before, Barcelona are not looking to bring a young pivot for the first team. That's not the plan. The pivot is the most important position on the team. Barcelona needs someone who is ready to be the starter on the day one. They're not looking to bring a youngster and groom him and wait for him to adapt. And 2-3 seasons is not going to happen, because you cannot wait 2-3 seasons for your pivot to adapt. The whole team falls apart, and then that's a problem. So that's why Oriol Romeo is the kind of like the perfect candidate, because he's 31. He still can give you 2-3 seasons, but yeah, he has plenty of experience. He came up through the Barcelona Academy. I think he was in the Academy 10 or 15 years. So he definitely knows how to play as a Barca pivot. He's played in La Liga. He's played in the Premier League. So he can come day one, be the pivot, and just start right away. And at the same time, because he is 31 years old, he's not the kind of player that's going to interrupt the progression of your Barca athletic players, someone like Marcal Lorente. Because if you bring a pivot who is in the prime, who's 25, 26, he's going to be in Barcelona for a long time, right? 6, 7 years. That might affect your youngsters, because if you're someone like Marcal Lorente, you're like, all right, this guy's going to be a starter for 6, 7 years. Maybe I should look for another team. But you bring someone like Romeo, who's 31, he can do the job, but at the same time, he's only going to be at the club for 2, maybe 3 seasons. So someone like Marcal Lorente is like, okay, yeah, I can get my shot in 2, 3 seasons. Maybe I'll stick around, right? So that's why Romeo is the perfect the candidate. I haven't heard anything about Oscar Zambrano, but again, I reiterate, Barcelona are not looking to bring a youngster for the pivot position. They're looking for someone who's ready to take that position. Okay, Ross says, why don't we buy the Oriol, CDM, and Amrabat on loan with option to buy? Fiorentina are not interested in loaning Amrabat. His contract expires next season, so it doesn't make in 2024. So it doesn't make sense to, of course, loan a player for a season, because then the next summer he'll leave for free. So Fiorentina are looking to sell Amrabat now. Okay. We'll do one more and then we'll keep going. All right. Crispy says Barca should monitor Ferreira and Cowell from USA. They are both really good. All right. Let's get back to the news, because Abde, we might know what's going to happen to Abde as soon as next week. Why do I say next week? Because Abde has not reported back to the preseason, because, of course, he played the under-23 Cup of Nations, African Cup of Nations, where he became the champion with Morocco. They defeated Egypt 2-1 in the final, and Abde was the MVP of the tournament, being the top assist provider and the top scorer. So great tournament for Abde, who is the champion now, the under-23 champion of Africa. So, of course, having just played this tournament, his vacation is going to be a little longer. So he's not going to report to the preseason until next week, which is July 17th. Now, Barcelona's plan, or Xavi's plan for Abde, is for Abde to travel with the team to the USA to participate in a preseason tour, because Xavi really wants to try out Abde. He wants to keep him on the team. But, of course, there is the problem that Ferran Torres is refusing to leave. And if Ferran Torres does not leave, then the club will be forced to sell Abde, because you can't have both players in that position. Not because the club doesn't like Abde or because they think Ferran Torres is better than Abde. Not at all. Xavi wants Abde over Ferran, but the problem is the bad financial situation of the club. So unfortunately, because of the bad financial situation, it has to be one or the other. And if Ferran does not want to leave, then the sacrifice one will be Abde. If this was any other season where the economy was great, I'm sure Barcelona would keep both, playing Abde and hoping that Ferran, leaves on loan or gets offloaded next season or during the winter, something like that. But because of the bad financial situation, if Ferran doesn't leave, Barcelona will have to sell Abde. No other way around it. Now, why do I say we can find out his future next week? Because Abde is set to come back from the preseason. And of course, once he's back from his vacation, he will meet with Xavi Hernandez and they will have a serious discussion about what's going on. Of course, again, Xavi's plan is to keep Abde, but Abde is doubting about staying in Barcelona. He wants a team to guarantee him a starting position. And of course, Xavi Hernandez cannot guarantee him that. Not because Xavi Hernandez doesn't like him or because Abde is a bad player, but this is FC Barcelona, and there's absolutely no one that gets a guaranteed spot except for a very, very select few, like maybe Pedri, Gavi, Balde, and Lewandowski. Besides that, no one gets a guaranteed spot. And Abde is no exception, especially since he has yet to earn his spot on the team, let alone earn a guarantee. So Abde is doubting. He wants to go to another club where they can guarantee him a starting spot. Xavi wants to keep him. So they will have a serious conversation next week, see what's going on, see the feeling. And depending on that conversation, we'll see whether Abde will stay or whether he will leave. And then, of course, there is the situation that if Ferran Torres doesn't leave and Abde does bring good offers to the club, which, of course, he will, because there are plenty of clubs interested in him, then Barcelona will be forced to offload him, which also would be a better financial sale than Ferran Torres. I don't want, of course, Ferran Torres to stay and Abde to leave, the opposite. But Abde only cost, I think it was 1 or 2 million euros. And there's talks about Barcelona being able to sell him for 40 just because he just won the championship and he was the MVP. So, it would be a huge economic boost for Barcelona if they do offload Abde. But again, that's not the main priority. The priority is to keep him and offload Ferran. But unfortunately, that's where we are economically. So you can thank Bartomeu and Sandro Rosé for the situation that we're in. All right, let's do the comment section again. And then we will talk about Xavi's contract renewal, because an interesting article came up today about Barcelona pausing his renewal. And I have all those details for you. Shalo says, hello, guys. Let us promote our beloved Mo by liking the videos. Yes, thank you. Thank you for mentioning that. I see 116 people watching, but only 32 likes. That's not even a third. So let's hit that like button. Let's make it triple digits. Again, likes actually go a long, long way in helping the channel. The more likes the video gets, the more the YouTube promotes the video to other people who've never seen the videos or never been on the channel. So please, guys, hit that like button. And then if you haven't subscribed, make sure you do. Okay. Spencer says, did you see any of the images of the Camp Nou under construction? Man, it looks crazy. Yes, I have. It looks like it was bombed during a war. It's honestly exciting. I can't wait to see what the Camp Nou is going to look like. I've had the pleasure and privilege of visiting the Camp Nou on 2 occasions. I visited for the first time summer of 2021, but it was summer, of course, so there was no matches. So I only went in and did tour of the stadium, of the museum. Incredible experience. And then finally, this past March, I got my long life wish accomplished of watching a match at the Camp Nou. So I got to see the Barcelona versus Valencia match, which we won 1-0. Horrible match as far as how we played. That's when Ferran Torres actually missed a penalty kick, of course. And I think it was Araujo that got red carded. I think so. But I'm very excited to see what the Camp Nou is going to look like. All right, Ibrahim, who's late, finally joined. What's up, Ibrahim? And Alex, another guy from Liberia. Awesome. Cinto says we better sell Abde about 40 mil at least. That's what they're talking about. We'll see if it happens. Again, the main priority is not to sell him. But if they do, hopefully, yeah, we can get something like that. Okay, let's see. Gustavo says, bro, you going to Clásico in Dallas? No. Texas is too hot for me in the summer, man. I'm from Vegas, so I grew up with 120 degrees weathers. And as soon as I finished school, I said, I am out of here. I am done with the heat. So I moved to the East Coast. I don't fare well in the heat. So I'm staying away from that. But I will try to go to the Arsenal match in LA, get me some nice weather, maybe hit the beach after. We'll see. Okay, so let's talk the last bit of news, and then we'll wrap it up and have a few more minutes of just questions in the chat section. And that's the news that was broken, I guess, by Marcal Lorente, who reported today that Barcelona have paused the contract renewal of Xavi Hernandez because there's a disagreement between Xavi and Joan Laporta, where Xavi Hernandez feels like he's not being listened to, like the club doesn't value his opinion, and therefore Barcelona have paused it. Of course, I don't think I have to tell you this. I think you can guess it on your own. But this report is pure crap. I swear, these Madrid media guys are not even trying anymore to make their articles at least sound a little bit realistic, like a little bit, Maybe do a half-baked lie, where it sounds a little bit realistic. They're not even trying that. They're just printing whatever the hell they want and hoping it sticks. So that's the report. Actually, Marcal Lorente is not a Real Madrid a media person. He's a Barcelona media person, supposedly, but all he does is publish crap, defaming the club day and night. He's, of course, if you don't know who Marcal Lorente is, he was one of the guys who has been accused of getting paid, of being on Bartomeu's payroll to, of course, make Bartomeu look as good as possible in the media, while at the same time defaming people like Messi, Piqué, all those guys who were speaking out against Bartomeu. So anybody who would point at Bartomeu and say, yo, this guy is ruining the club, Bartomeu would pay reporters, including Marcal Lorente, to immediately start publishing crap about these people to discredit them, while at the same time making Bartomeu look good. So I don't want to say, he's always lying, but he's definitely not the most reliable or truthful source of news. And Marcal Lorente did publish that supposedly Barcelona has paused the negotiations to renew Xavi because there's a disagreement. Well, there's absolutely no disagreement. The relationship between Xavi and Joan Laporta is absolutely great. It's intact. There's no disagreement. Xavi Hernandez wants to renew his contract with the club. The club wants to renew Xavi Hernandez's contract until 2026. But the reason it hasn't happened is not because there's a disagreement. It's because Xavi Hernandez has said that he doesn't want to be an obstacle in the club signing players. We've said it a million times. I'll say it again. Barcelona are having a hard time signing players and registering players because there's no space on the wage bill. And of course, the wage bill includes everybody, not just players. It includes Xavi Hernandez as well. So Xavi does not want to get in the way of contract renewals. His contract doesn't expire until next summer. So he told Barcelona, you guys sign players, register them, do everything you need to do, then worry about me. I don't care. I'll wait as long as possible. If he has to wait until the winter, if he has to wait until next summer, Xavi does not care. He doesn't want to be an obstacle for the club. So that's why it hasn't happened yet. It's not because there's some kind of disagreement. It's total BS. The reason I made this channel is because I did want to kind of provide a more reliable source of news and kind of expose these kind of reports. But the fact that I have to keep doing it, I think sometimes it just makes me so angry because I feel like in 2023, I should not be almost every video, every day. I have to talk about some crazy report that's absolute bullcrap. And the fact that I have to do it kind of makes me mad because I'm like, I shouldn't have to, right? But here we are. Anyways, let's see, guys. That was all the news, by the way. Let's do a few more minutes of comments and get the discussion going, see what you guys think about all the news that I share with you today. If you have any doubts or questions, hit up the comment section. But again, don't forget, hit that like button, subscribe. I will be adding timestamps in the description for those of you who will be watching later, for those of you who joined the live stream late. I'll also be adding the chapters in the timeline so you can skip through that if you don't want to hear, the discussion, you just want to get to the news. Of course, that's all going to be there. All right. Let's see. Where did we leave off? Because I forgot. Legacy Entertainment says Jamaica will win the Gold Cup. Oh, yeah. So Gold Cup, good luck to everybody who's in it. I'm not a huge fan of the Gold Cup. But I did watch. Actually, I only watched the penalty kicks between USA and Canada. Very sad game. The whole cup is very sad. I always wonder if was gold not worth as much back when they named the cup, the Gold Cup, because I feel like it's definitely misnamed. There's nothing gold about the level of the football you see in the Gold Cup. But anyways, I digress. Gustavo says, I'm in Texas. I'm taking my dad. So excited about it. That's freaking awesome, man. It's awesome not only that you're going, but that you're taking your dad. I mean, that's going to be one memory that you will remember forever. And I'm sure your dad will appreciate it that you're taking him. That's really amazing. Spencer says, do you know how much we would actually need to clear off to be able to register all the players we have signed recently? So Ilkay, Gundogan, and Inigo Martinez will be registered. There was already space on the wage bill for them. So they will be registered, no problems. In order to register Vitor Roque and bring him this summer, Barcelona have to offload Frank Kessie and Ferran Torres. Both of them need to go for Vitor Roque to arrive. Now, Oriol Romeo, his salary will be a lot smaller. I don't know. Maybe another player or two. But we'll see. We'll see. Obviously, the priority is to sign and register Oriol Romeo first, then bring Vitor Roque, because after all, if we can't bring Vitor Roque this summer, we still have Lewandowski. But if we can't bring Oriol Romeo, we don't have anyone. So, all right, let's see. Alex says, thanks for the update. I always join from Liberia. Thank you, Alex, for watching. Chico says, are you going to manage to register the new signings like Gundogan and others? I guess I just answered that question. Legacy says, you're doing a spectacular job. Thank you. And Chuchu says, Gold Cup is horrible and Julian Araujo isn't even playing well in the competition. Yeah, Julian Araujo is really disappointing, man. I think we will need another right back because he's not impressing at all. Okay, guys, I think that's it. That's all the news for today. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for your likes and your subscriptions. As always, I will see you in tomorrow's video. Have a good night or good morning wherever you are in the world. And as always, I cannot sign off without saying, Visca Barça.